In nature, there are encounters even more terrifying than an ordinary hunt. Not because the prey is stronger, but because the one standing before the venomous fangs is a creature also born to hunt. When that happens, the survivor will be the one who swallows the rest. Hidden behind those seemingly unbelievable scenes is the law of survival that has existed for millions of years. Today, you yourself will witness the most terrifying moments of cannibalistic venomous snakes ever recorded. King Cobra versus Python. Can pure muscular strength defeat the most deadly chemical weapon in nature? Despite the opponent having a large size, the king cobra's instinct specializing in hunting other snake species makes it not falter at all, but directly attack. Unyielding, the reticulated python launches a counterattack. Lacking venom, they survive by a massive constricting force that can completely cut off the blood circulation process. The muscle coils quickly wrap tightly around the opponent's head. The king cobra falls into a severe disadvantage, seemingly hopeless. However, the patience and endurance of the cobra have spoken. Sharp, venomous fangs bury deep into the opponent's flesh. A large amount of neurotoxin lightning fast destroys and paralyzes the python's respiratory system. The constriction coils gradually loosen, deciding the cruel outcome of the defeated one. Nature has no room for mercy, and life is sometimes decided by just a lightning-fast moment. Under the tropical rainforest rain, a rare clash takes place. The king cobra, a professional snake hunter, faces the reticulated python, the longest python species in the world. The king cobra quickly embeds its venomous fangs into the opponent's lower jaw. From this position, the neurotoxic venom penetrates faster into the central nervous system. When the constriction coils gradually loosen, the swallowing process begins. Thanks to a flexible jawbone structure that can separate, the snake slowly swallows the defeated one whole. The two lower jaw halves are connected by elastic ligaments, allowing them to operate independently. It walks with its jaws, alternately bringing each side forward to pull the python's body slipping deep into the esophagus. The heart and stomach of the king cobra expand twice their size to concentrate energy on digesting the giant food mass. After this meal, it can fast for many months. Mussurana versus rattlesnake. The black Mussurana snake, a species specializing in hunting snakes, has just successfully ambushed a rattlesnake. It uses muscular strength to tightly coil, aiming to neutralize the victim. Even though the rattlesnake carries venom strong enough to take down large mammals, it is completely outmatched by the natural enemy born to destroy it. The mussurana's serum contains antibodies that neutralize rattlesnake venom. Therefore, it calmly endures the bite as if nothing happened. The prey's struggling causes quite a bit of difficulty. The hunter continuously bites the opponent's body. However, that is not enough to immediately take down an adult rattlesnake with thick skin and persistent vitality. After many times of releasing and biting again to adjust posture, the mussurana has achieved its purpose. It launches an accurate bite to the head, tightly locking the rattlesnake's venomous jaws. This locking blow extinguishes all resistance, opening the process of swallowing the victim from the top of the head. Spitting cobra versus puff adder. The spitting cobra and the puff adder are both notorious venomous snakes in Africa, but their survival strategies are completely opposite. The puff adder leans towards passive defense, a bulky body and thick skin creating a large barrier for enemies to approach. However, this armor cannot protect it tonight. The spitting cobra completely holds the initiative, continuously launching probing bites to test the victim's reaction. The bite then release movement helps it assess the prey's level of paralysis, avoiding the risk of holding tight and being bitten back by the puff adder. The passivity of the puff adder creates an opportunity for the predator to probe. When the neck exposes a loophole, the cobra immediately strikes the target. The one holding the initiative once again wins an overwhelming victory. Jiboya versus coral snake. The coral snake lunges forward to bite a small python, but the slipping jaws make it fail in immobilizing the target. The brief loophole is enough for the python to counterattack. It coils itself, tightly constricting continuously on the opponent's body. The coral snake struggles out of the constriction coil before losing control. Just as it steps back, it immediately bites a second time. The coral snake's neurotoxic venom destroys muscle controllability, causing the victim's reflexes to weaken rapidly. The python gradually passes out. The constriction coil disintegrates. The coral snake holds the head tight and begins to swallow. The outcome is decided by just an accurate reversal maneuver. King snake versus rattlesnake. On the arid wild ground, a clash is taking place.
All right, so we'll try again.
The California king snake, bearing characteristic black and white scales, does not flinch at the deadly warning rattle sound. The target is a rattlesnake carrying renowned venom. Thanks to natural immunity, the king snake only sees the opponent as a meal.
It takes forever to load.
Having no venom, the king snake uses muscular strength to launch a suffocating constriction coil. This prey-constricting technique tightly compresses the chest, cutting off blood circulation, causing the opponent to die. Possessing a deadly weapon, the rattlesnake is still helpless before its natural enemy. A bite straight into the opponent's snout has cut off the last chance of resistance. When the prey stops struggling, the hunter begins to swallow it whole. It swallows from the head to press the prey's scales smoothly along the direction, avoiding backward scales tearing the esophagus. The flexible jaws expand to the maximum, slowly swallowing whole a prey with a size nearly equal to itself.
He's got a meal, there's one less rattler. What's up?
A true nemesis of venomous snake species. King cobra versus grass snake. The king cobra is subduing a grass snake. It tightly clamps the body, blocking the victim's escape route. The prey struggles, hoping to bite back at the enemy's hood. With a lightning-fast reflex, the king cobra whips around, striking the opponent's head. When the head is locked tight, resistance ends. The hunter does not constrict strongly, only keeping a clamping force just enough to immobilize. This blow helps protect the oral cavity and avoid breaking the pair of venomous fangs when the victim is still convulsing. The swallowing process takes place slowly. The two lower jaw halves operate separately, alternately pulling the prey slipping into the esophagus. This is not just a meal, but a testament to the biological evolution specialized in hunting the meat of other snake species. Python versus cobra. The scientific name Ophiophagus hanna of the king cobra is a clear warning. Snake eater. Today, we will see the reason why they stand at the top of the food chain. The king cobra calmly observes, the silence before the battle erupts. The giant amount of venom pumped in makes the prey instantly paralyzed and lose body control. Patience is rewarded. It launches the decisive blow, tightly clamping the victim's head. When swallowing, the king cobra continuously chews and compresses to inject more venom into the victim's body, completely eliminating the possibility of struggling and breaking fangs. The winner leisurely swallows the prey, affirming its exclusive predatory status in nature. King cobra versus rat snake. In the wild world, does size always determine survival? With a fatal strike, the king cobra buries its fangs into the prey's head. Over 700 milligrams of venom immediately penetrates the body of the weaker one. It holds its jaws tight, waiting for the opponent to be completely paralyzed. For ordinary snake species, facing a king cobra is exactly facing the grim reapers. During the process of holding the prey, the two jaw sides of the king cobra still chew continuously to secrete a giant amount of venom. This is what helps these experienced hunters always secure the victory. When resistance ends, the swallowing process takes place slowly, a testament to the cruel predatory habit of this creature. Do you know the king cobra bears the title snake eater because of its special hunting instinct? Over 90% of its menu is snakes. With the ability to be immune to many types of toxins, that hunter almost does not care about the opponent's bites at all. The rat snake, a favorite dish of the king cobra. It does not even carry toxins. Despite taking a painful blow, the prey does not give up. It continuously looks for every way to attack the opponent in vain. The tug of war drags on, but time completely favors the hunter. The king cobra's fangs have a special structure hooking inward, helping it hold the prey tight without letting go. The powerful bites cannot hold out after a few minutes of the toxin spreading. King cobra versus python. Can the most notorious constrictor of the reptiles counter the king cobra? Although the python uses its powerful constricting muscle mass to clamp around the tree branch, the king cobra, with the help of neurotoxic venom, is truly the one mastering the game. It does not need overly strong venom. It only needs to pump a massive amount to shock the target's nervous system instantly. Grasping the weakness, the king cobra reaches out to bite the python's entire head, completely extinguishing all risks of counterattacks. When seeping into the blood, the venom blocks signals transmitting from the brain to the muscles. As a result, the prey suffers full body paralysis, respiratory failure, and cardiac arrest. Every feast of the king cobra starts from the prey's head. That helps press all the opponent's hard scale layers smoothly, ensuring a frictionless route, not causing esophageal tearing or internal organ damage for the predator. Although famous as a terrifying assassin, the king cobra sometimes plays the role of the cold cleaner of nature. Spotting the lifeless carcass of a python, the hunter immediately seizes the opportunity. It shows off its masterful swallowing skill, tightly pressing and stuffing the victim's entire body deep into its esophagus. When swallowing large prey, the king cobra's esophagus expands, creating terrible pressure. To avoid being compressed, causing cardiac arrest, its heart will push itself to the side or retreat backward to make way for the prey to pass through. Now is the time the extremely strong stomach acid begins to take over the rest of the decomposition process of this giant protein mass. The wild world always harbors survival methods full of surprises and brutality. Coral snake versus rat snake. What survival law is more brutal than predators turning their very own kind into their meals? One side carries neurotoxins, the other relies on pure muscular strength. Because it possesses a pair of venomous fangs that are quite short and fixed on the upper jaw, the coral snake cannot bite and release. It is forced to clamp tight and continuously chew to pump venom into the opponent's body. The toxin quickly breaks muscle connections. Even if the prey twists and resists, full-body paralysis still rapidly strikes, extinguishing all final possibilities of resistance. Hunger is satisfied. The life of the weaker one has been completely stripped away. King cobra versus python. Right in a narrow space, the king cobra's assassin instinct rises once again. Lightning speed helps it bury its neurotoxic fangs into the reticulated python's body. Reacting to the pain, the reticulated python reveals its root strength. As one of the species with the strongest constricting force, it quickly wraps its bulging muscle blocks enveloping the attacker's head. But unluckily, the venom spreads faster than the finishing constriction blow of the reticulated python, and the hunter has escaped in a split second. Now there are only desperate attacks left, but that is meaningless. With a venom amount secreted 20 times more than other snake species, the king cobra's prey cannot hold out for too long. All resisting efforts end as the king cobra decides to move closer to the prey's head, ready for finishing the meal. When swallowing prey, the king cobra's stomach secretes a large amount of acid, helping it completely dissolve calcium in the bones and hard scales of other snake species in just 3 to 5 days. Coral snake versus mussurana. A brilliant beauty in the wild world is sometimes the sternest warning of an undeniable death. A young mussurana snake slithers by. Although when mature they can resist venom, this young one is noticeably weaker. The coral snake immediately launches a bite, burying its fangs into the opponent. Not letting go of the target, it maintains a powerful bite force to continuously pump venom through the fixed fangs on the upper jaw. This neurotoxin quickly attacks, breaking the victim's respiratory system and motor ability. In just a moment, the young snake's body is completely paralyzed. The subduing process ends. Indigo snake versus rat snake. In nature, cannibalism among the same kind is not cruelty, but a supreme survival strategy. And for the indigo snake, hunting a rat snake is also an everyday occurrence. Cannibalism allows snakes to receive a nutritional source with tissue structure and protein almost identical to their bodies. This helps the digestive system maximally reduce decomposing energy, making the absorption process happen faster and more effectively than digesting mammals or birds. To them, their own kind is a highly safe and energy-rich meal. The indigo snake has evolved a natural immunity to the venom of many other snake species. It turns the opponent's most dangerous weapon into something useless, turning the battle into a display of pure physical overwhelm. By eating other snake species like the rat snake, the indigo snake directly eliminates food source competitors, an extremely smart strategy reserved for the strongest. King cobra versus python. How does the cold-blooded assassin assess the prey before striking? The king cobra is using its forked tongue to collect scent particles in the air, analyzing the position of the reticulated python ahead. It maintains a safe distance, patiently waiting for the ripe opportunity. The attack erupts in a flash. The king cobra launches a fatal bite, pumping a massive amount of neurotoxin into the opponent. Even though the reticulated python has the muscular advantage to constrict tightly, it quickly collapses when its respiratory system is paralyzed by the toxin. The winner begins to locate the victim's head. Snakes are forced to swallow prey from the head, so the scales flow smoothly along the esophagus, avoiding stomach tearing. The jaw joints with elastic ligaments help it open its mouth many times wider than normal. The meal has ended a cold encounter in the wild world. Musurana versus Jararaksha. Is deadly venom enough to ensure survival against a completely immune enemy? On the deserted rock surface, the Musurana, a cannibalistic hunter with venom resistance, is facing one of its favorite preys. The Jararaka's venom is not only a hunting weapon, but a brutal chemical mixture. It simultaneously dissolves flesh tissue and collapses the circulatory system. But the deadly venom is now completely useless against a totally immune opponent. The Musurana maintains an extremely strong constricting force, combining mild venom from its rear fangs to paralyze the opponent. When resistance ends, the Musurana begins its meal. It slowly swallows the venomous snake whole, a testament to the harsh survival adaptation of nature. Banded Krait versus Russell Viper. What will happen when the two most notorious killing machines clash right in the middle of the night? The Banded Krait launches a decisive bite into the opponent's body. Right after being bitten, the prey no longer has control over its behavior. The Banded Krait continuously chews and grinds. Its flexible jaw structure helps it pump a large amount of extremely strong neurotoxin into the prey's circulatory system. The viper twists desperately, but cannot escape the tightly locked bite force. The price of the neurotoxin begins to show clearly. The viper's movements gradually slow down and are completely paralyzed when the signals from the brain are cut off. The Banded Krait expands its jaws, slowly swallowing the enemy with a size approximate to its own. A deadly weapon is also useless if you become the target of one born to counter exactly you.
I'm so glad I have video on this thing.
Yeah, videos.
Right now, on the arid ground, two venom carriers are lunging into a fierce showdown.
Mom, take a picture.
The dark red snake tightly bites the opponent's head, igniting the uncompromising battle.
I think it's actually the smaller snake that's eating.
In battles between snakes, controlling the head not only helps prevent the opponent from biting back, but is also the first step to disrupting the nervous system. The two animals constrict each other tightly, rolling amidst the blinding dust like a giant knot.
Yeah, good fight.
Oh, he's got him in a headlock. Oh my gosh, the one.
The battle becomes a race of endurance. The one with denser muscle density and better ability to withstand pressure will gain the upper hand. The balance at this moment seems to have completely tilted towards the dark red snake. However, the victim unexpectedly breaks free successfully, removing the constriction coil and quickly slithering away to escape. Python versus mangrove snake. The reticulated python is preparing to swallow the prey after a suffocating constriction blow. Unexpectedly, a mangrove snake appears, breaking the silence. Instead of hiding, it advances to confront head-on. This is a food scrambling scene, intertwining between two completely different survival tactics. The mangrove snake recklessly bites onto the carcass just as the reticulated python is about to swallow. Although it can attack the opponent, instinct warns the reticulated python about the risk of injury. Being a rear-fanged, venomous snake species, although the mangrove snake's venom does not cause death, it is still enough to create swollen wounds and intense pain for the python. Incurring injuries just for a meal at this time is an unworthy gamble for the reticulated python. After a moment of hesitation, it decides to release the prey and step back. King cobra versus banded krait. Can the extremely strong venom of the banded krait save its life against one specializing in hunting its very own kind? Even though the banded krait possesses formidable neurotoxic venom, the king cobra carries within it natural venom-resistant receptors, neutralizing the opponent's weapon. True to the scientific name Ophiophagus, meaning snake eater, they have superior agility and extremely strong teeth to lock onto the target tight. The banded krait continuously twists its body. However, physical disadvantage makes it completely helpless. The predator patiently maintains the bite, waiting for its own venom to paralyze the victim. The super acidic gastric juice of the king cobra will smoothly digest even the venom proteins of the banded krait, ending a perfect hunt. King cobra versus python. Under the ground covered with dry leaves, a large python is starting a new day with usual hunts. However, the real threat appears when the python accidentally encroaches on the cobra's territory. The cobra proactively plunges its sharp fangs, carrying extremely strong neurotoxic venom into the python's body. And the death constriction coil simultaneously also puts pressure on the troublemaker's body. At this pressure level, the prey's ribs are not only broken, but the blood vessel system will be completely destroyed in less than 60 seconds. But with the king cobra, it is different. It is waiting for the neurotoxin venom to gradually seep in until the prey is paralyzed. Finally, the coils also gradually weaken. The king cobra luckily escapes, realizing the prey is tough to swallow. It only leaves a threatening bite, then quickly walks away. King cobra versus banded file snake. Under the dry leaf layer, the life and death battle has just settled. The large hunter has launched the decisive finishing blow. With a diet that is 90% its own kind, the king cobra possesses perfect snake hunting skills. The king cobra does not use muscular strength to push the prey in. It uses its jaws like a pair of legs. The two lower jaw halves move independently, stepping step by step over the prey's body, combined with wave-like esophageal muscle contractions, helping to easily push the prey inside. To concentrate all blood and energy for the stomach acid pool to process the giant prey, it will reduce the activity of other organs. Heart rate increases, but body movements decrease to a minimum. After eating, this king becomes extremely sluggish and vulnerable. The king cobra indirectly controls and keeps the snake populations in the area always in a balanced state, preventing the explosion of smaller snake species. Megalodon shark versus sperm whale. The Silent Ocean is not a peaceful kingdom, but a place where predatory machines with bite forces of tens of thousands of psi hide in the darkness, waiting for an opportunity. In the deep depths, the super shark Megalodon is gliding along, sharing this sea with an equally massive creature, the sperm whale. The sperm whale can use its giant head like a sledgehammer to ram straight into the Megalodon's belly, the softest part of the shark. Additionally, its lower jaw has teeth as hard as steel to counterattack. But the Megalodon possesses the strongest bite force in natural history, around 108,000 to 182,000 newtons. Its jaws can crush a whale's skull or ribs in just a single bite. On one side is a set of deadly jaws that can crush a truck. On the other is the smartest brain in the ocean with a terrifying sonic weapon. Although the megalodon is extinct, scientists have relied on fossils to simulate this battle. The giant size and pack strength of the sperm whale turn it into an impenetrable fortress. But when reduced to solitary individuals, can it survive safely at the bottom of the ocean? At the bottom of the silent ocean, a massive block hovers amidst the deep blue water. That is a giant sperm whale. Around it, black shadows cleave the water swimming about. The megalodons are slowly narrowing the encirclement. The sperm whale's body bears countless scars of time. It moves extremely slowly and tiredly. Taking advantage of this weakness, the predatory machines with hundreds of sharp triangular serrated teeth charge straight in to close the distance, signaling a fierce massacre. However, the sperm whale's secret weapon is its sonar system. It can emit sound pulses up to 230 decibels, enough to stun, cause pain, or rupture the eardrums of those who want to approach it. Fighting all alone, the sperm whale decides to proactively attack, but this quickly becomes a fatal mistake. The megalodon pack does not let this go. The great body mass slowly sinks completely down to the coral reef, becoming a giant feast for the shark pack in the deep seabed. Leviathan versus Megalodon. This is a true battle between two monsters of the same era, the same size, and competing for the top position of the food chain in the Miocene Ocean. Two symbols of power beneath the ocean are moving to forage. The Leviathan tails closely behind the Megalodon pack ahead. Considered a prehistoric ocean monster, the Leviathan hunted larger and more ferocious prey than the sperm whale. The Leviathan does not rush to attack. It is waiting for the right moment when solitary individuals lose their pack advantage. The attack quickly aims at a small prey. Possessing the largest teeth ever recorded, up to 36 centimeters long and 12 centimeters in diameter, Leviathan became a terror to the giant predators of the ocean. Sperm whale versus giant squid. Possessing thousands of sharp serrated suction cups, the giant squid is capable of tearing the flesh of any tailing pursuer. At a depth where light cannot reach, the giant eyes of the squid help them clearly see every movement of the sea, but fail to sense a giant predator approaching from afar. No matter how strong the attacking weapons are, most will be outmatched by superior size. And the recent attack is exactly an example.
The squid fights back by using its tentacles to constrict the enemy's head, making an effort to inflict damage on the massive foe. But that is completely useless against the sperm whale.
Sperm whale versus orca. The giant size of the sperm whale is usually the most solid shield against all enemies in the ocean. But when facing the besieging pack tactics of orcas, a young individual becomes a fatal weakness, forcing the giants to establish a life-or-death defensive line. Perceiving the threat, the sperm whale pod immediately sets up a defensive circle. They point their heads toward the center to protect the young, exposing their muscular tails outward. Waiting for the sperm whales to move deeper, the orcas immediately tail behind. Avoiding the overly thick body blubber, the predator lunges in and bites into the tail flukes to neutralize the victim's propulsion and navigation ability. Despite the injuries, the sperm whale pod quickly gathers to shield each other. The re-established sturdiness forces the orca pod to swim away. Orca versus seal. The superior intelligence of the orca does not only lie in muscular strength, but in the ability to understand and manipulate the physical principles of water currents. When the floating ice block seems to be the seal's last safe fortress, it becomes the focal point of a hydrodynamic attack calculated without missing a beat. Amidst the freezing waters of Antarctica, giant black backs silently pierce through the sea surface. On the tiny iceberg, 3 seals are seeking a resting place, but perhaps this time they will have to be much more active. The hunters gradually rise above the water surface and identify the target. Thanks to specially structured corneas helping to maintain perfect vision in both environments, the predator easily locks onto the seal's position. The prey panics but has no way to retreat. The assassin pod swims in parallel, then simultaneously sweeps their tails, converting kinetic energy into an artificial wave carrying massive pressure that sweeps the seals off their shelter. But the agility of the little ones has truly brought out their strength. Taking refuge on an iceberg seems to be the safest way to separate from the dorsal fins parting the waves below. However, to a pod of orcas, that silent ice surface is merely a fragile obstacle waiting to be crushed. Orcas are considered one of the smartest species on the planet, on par with dolphins and close to primates. The upward gazes do not only locate the prey, but also represent a great deal of strategic calculation being formed. The next attack wave creates a wall of water crashing down on the ice surface. The seal loses its balance, swept straight down into the hunter's jaws by the churning water. The encirclement immediately tightens. Air bubbles rise white across the sea surface, marking the swift end of the hunt. Gray whale versus orca. The giant size and thick blubber layer of the gray whale are inherently an impenetrable shield against most ocean enemies. But when young individuals face the calculated besieging and drowning tactics of the orcapod, that biological defensive layer is gradually cracking. The assassin pod surrounds the gray whale mother and calf. They wisely ignore the mother, focusing all their force on the young target. Weighing tens of tons but lacking counterattacking weapons, the mother whale gradually becomes helpless against the too-perfect pack tactics. They take turns gliding past, pressing down on the top of the victim's head to block the blowhole. For marine mammals, having their breathing rhythm continuously obstructed is more brutal than any bite. The young gray whale seems to be exhausting under the continuous grip. Despite trying to move forward, it is continuously pressed down and submerged into the deep water by the assassin pod. Under the golden sunlight of the Alaskan wilderness, the grizzly bear appears as a gentle giant. But that calm exterior is just a cover for a state-of-the-art biological machine. With a sense of smell 2,100 times keener than a human's, it can smell food up to 30 kilometers away, a locating ability with almost no rival. However, when the hunting mode is activated, the gentleness disappears. With a massive muscle mass, the grizzly bear can accelerate up to 56 kilometers per hour, faster than even the world's top track athletes. This is exactly the embodiment of the primal power in North America. Bear versus elk. Elk, the nearly half-ton giant of the North American deep forest. With antlers weighing up to 18 kilograms, and having a calcium density so dense that it is 3 times harder than the grizzly bear's skull. It is not only prey, but also a challenging opponent for any predator. But it is not naturally that the grizzly bear is one of the top predators of North America. It has chased the elk into the water current to neutralize the prey's agile turning ability when on land. With a special muscle hump structure on the shoulder, the grizzly bear possesses a pouncing force of up to thousands of kilograms, strong enough to break the prey's spine in just one swat. Right at the moment of achieving its purpose, the 10-centimeter long claws bury deep into the flesh, dragging the prey onto the shore like a toy. This is a testament to the absolute strength of the one at the top of the food chain.
What is that?
But one meal is never enough for the upcoming winter.
There he goes again.
He's gotta make it over that hill, though.
However, in the open space, the 70 kilometers per hour speed advantage of the adult elks gradually creates a distance. It chooses to cut across the path the elk herd runs through, and the target is a fragile young one. A bite ends the victim's life in just a few short seconds. But the hunt only truly ends when the prey is brought to a safe place. Bear versus bear. Due to extremely high solitary habits with a territorial range of up to 1,500 square kilometers, the encounter of two bears is a rare and biologically risky event. The harsh environment makes it almost always in a state of hunting and killing. When the distance narrows, their nervous system immediately switches from a probing state to an explosive attack mode. By focusing attacks on the thick-fatted neck and shoulder area, the grizzly bear both shows off its strength and preserves the lives of both in the hierarchical dispute. One of the two sides has the right to yield, and they always have a certain concession to their own kind. Bear versus deer. The mother bear leads her cubs moving under extreme energy pressure as winter approaches. For the bear cubs, they need up to 10 kilograms of food per day, and the mother bear the necessary consumption amount is 5 times more than that. With a rate of increasing 1 to 2 kilograms of fat per day, the hunting pressure in autumn has increased to the maximum level. And this deer herd might be today's main meal. But with limited speed, the mother bear has no other way than aiming for the young one. The dry tree branch blocking the prey's path has made today's meal easier than ever. Bear versus wolf. In the natural world, the grizzly bear is classified as a super-dominant species. They do not need to fight to win. Their mere appearance is enough to change the behavior of all other predatory species in the area. But their weakness is solitude. On the contrary, wolves dominate thanks to pack discipline and superior hunting tactics. They coordinate rhythmically, taking turns pursuing to always keep each other in the most vigorous hunting state. However, when the grizzly bear enters, all the pack's tactical advantages are immediately neutralized when facing brute strength. It proactively executes explosive attacks and pounces carrying 1,000 kilograms of force to counter all harassing efforts. The powerful roar, along with wind-tearing swats, force the wolf pack to face the risk of immediate casualties. Before the direct attacking pressure, the wolf pack's patience disintegrates. A complete submission before the power and cruel possessive behavior of the one holding an entire forest in its hands. Bear versus puma. The puma, one of the seasoned predators of the Forbidden Land, carries within it explosive strength and reflexes faster than any opponent. But with a weight of merely 60 kilograms, this will be a big challenge for the puma when facing a giant weighing many times its own self. But thanks to its light weight, the puma possesses a fast-twitch muscle fiber density, allowing it to launch 3 to 4 swats a second. It proactively launches continuous attacks on the sensitive face area and buries its fangs with a 350 psi bite force directly into the top of the bear's head. The survival instinct forces the giant to retreat before a frantic one with superior reaction speed. Bear versus moose. By the water surface, the opportunistic predator is assessing the target. A grizzly bear aims at the moose calf, but encounters a giant barrier. The mother moose. The bear proactively emits a threatening signal, but the mother moose does not allow it to do that. Although a herbivore, the moose's natural weapon is the kicks from its sharp hooves carrying a striking force equal to or even stronger than a horse's leg force. Realizing the risk of injury exceeds the value of the meal, the grizzly bear has to run away. With an absolute instinct to protect her young, the mother moose does not allow any concession. The fierce defense has psychologically overwhelmed the solitary predator.
Get him.
Bear versus bison. Possessing a mass of nearly a ton, along with a solid 7 centimeters thick skull, bisons are the true living tanks of the prairie. The terrifying direct rams that shake the whole prairie are exactly what makes all predators apprehensive. However, that apprehension has been overshadowed by hunger. The peace on the prairie quickly shatters when a sullen black shadow appears in the distance. The bear tries to find the young one in the herd, limiting confrontation with the giants carrying extremely high risks. But right when the effort is almost extinguished, across the riverbank, the bear's ideal prey has appeared. What you have just witnessed are not merely hunts, but the harshest side of the law of survival. Every encounter can end in a way no one expects. Just a tiny mistake is enough to turn a predator into a victim and turn a confrontation into a haunting scene. If you want to continue exploring the incredible secrets of the wild world, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next journey of discovery.